Oh, hi everybody, I just wanted to make another video real quick, and kind of my preps and stuff that I do. I I know a lot of people aren't going to think that this is kind of a manly thing, and it's not intended to be that way, but I store candle wax and to make candles at night. And the reason, or not at night, just to use primarily when it's dark, because there's a lot of uses for a candle. There's a lot of uses for wax. Such did a thing on wax and stuff like that. But and this is not by any means a spinoff of his video, because I'm not trying to copy anybody. That's the last thing I want to do. That's why mine are very low budget and just kind of holding my phone, and I don't have none of that fancy stuff yet. But I store up wax because where I'm at, there's a lot of power outages. That's why my house is heated off of propane and not electricity. And if you can see, it won't focus, probably won't focus, right outside that door, right outside that window, is it's 8 cords of wood. That's a lot of wood. Now I've got a lot of these candles in here. A lot of these are your cheap tea lights. These things will burn for 45 minutes a piece. I've got, see, that's 16, another package of 16, another package of 16, and 2 more packages of 16. And then I've got a couple of these 100 packs. So there's 200. I guess it's pretty safe to say I have an overwhelming amount of candles, because if China does decide to do what they're doing with manufacturing EMPs with the intent to use them, I want to be able to see at night. And the fact that if you have a tent, you can use the wax to seal it. Like if there's a spot that pools up, you can rub some wax on it. You can put it on your zipper and all that stuff, all that good stuff. There's a million uses. Well, not a million, but there's a lot of uses for wax, especially beeswax. I reload for my 30-30 and my 12 gauge, and you can use wax. Now this is soy wax. I've got everything separated. Everything that's in these jars over here is soy wax because it's cheaper. It's much easier to get. This is paraffin wax. All of this is paraffin wax. This, I don't know if you can hear it in there. This is paraffin wax. This is a very hard wax. But this is just a conglomeration of, like, oh man, this is just a conglomeration of candles that I boiled down and heated them up and then poured them into this jar. That's all that is. But I don't know if you can see it. I'll take off the lid. As you can see, it's multiple candles poured into one. Pretty sure it's not going to have a very good smell to it. But it has 2 wicks. Right here in front of me is probably a month's supply of candles. The reason why I say a month is because ideally, you know, power were out for a year, and let's say you wanted to have a candle going at night, so you can see, you know, I'd use one of these. Because the paraffin wax, there's always a little bit left over. With your soy wax, it all burns. At least with these, in my experience with these. Now, I do have lanterns. You got one there, I've got one there. And let's see if I can get it to focus. And you can kind of somewhat see it over there. Got 3 lanterns. And then 4 things of fuel. That's an awful lot of fuel for those lanterns. I figure 8 bottles of that would be 6 months worth of fuel, worth of use. You know, I just you can set stuff on top of those lanterns. Supposedly it will heat up and boil water. I haven't tried it yet, so that's why I say supposedly it will. I haven't done it yet, so I'm not going to say it will work, because I haven't done it yet. But having candles is something that I feel like a lot of people overlook. And, you know, storing up salt, that's another video that I'm going to do. Storing up cooking ingredients, salt, flour. You know, the essentials. Your body has to have salt, so I'm going to start storing salt. Not for sure how well salt's going to store in Mylar bags, or what I'm going to do with it. But I'm going to start buying salt. A lot of it. And, you know, I just figured I'd make this video. Just one of these right here will burn for at least 3 days. 3 days, roughly. I'd say that's a pretty good candle. I keep 2 of these in each of my vehicles in the wintertime. I have kits that I swap out in my vehicles. I've got stuff for summer. I've got medical, a small first aid kit. All the vehicles, wasn't that much for it, but it can help out. I keep water in all my vehicles. Not for the purpose if I'm stranded, but for the purpose of if I'm in a pinch and I need to put something in my radiator, you know, I've got water. You know, I'm going to make a quote, or not a quote, but something that happened down in, I believe it was Georgia. There were people that were stuck on the side of the road in the middle of winter when all that was, we had that snow a couple years ago. That's crazy. And if you pay attention to the Farmer's Almanac this year, we're supposed to get a lot of snow this year. An overwhelming amount of snow. And I'm not very well off. I just kind of live my life as the Lord provides, kind of thing. I have a nice little family and whatnot, and you know, there have been times where I've ran out of propane, and the next thing I know, the power's off. Not because I didn't pay the bill, but because it's on scheduled timing for the propane tank out there, and the power lines just, you know, got so much ice on them, they broke, or they fell, or, you know, someone crashed into it, you know, vice versa. But these candles, if I light a bunch of these candles and section off this main part of the house, I can keep this room at 70 degrees. And I kid you not, I've done it before. In a pinch, in an emergency. There have been times it's been so stupid hot that my air conditioner quit. I had to buy another one. And I grabbed one of my old books that I have about the Great Depression. I opened up all the windows on the east and west side and took and stuck a damp blanket. Pinned it up there, grabbed some roofing nails, pounded it into the studs, hung it up. That's the one benefit of having a trailer. If you can get a good cross breeze, you can cool it down fairly well. But I'm going to get off of here. I'm ranting too much. I just figured, candles for emergency, or however you want to put it. I don't look at this as a girly or guy or manly thing to have. I just look at it as a necessity. My wife thinks I'm crazy for having this much. And to be honest, I have more. I just didn't feel like putting them all out here, because I have some in the shed. And this is probably, I want to say 40 pounds worth of wax. Roughly, this is roughly 40 pounds. And I have a feeling that this is roughly, if things were to get real bad, this would be less than a year's supply of wax, especially if it was cold. But I'm going to get off of here, y'all. I hope y'all have a very safe and blessed Sunday. Bye.